4.9, parallel and perpendicular lines. What are parallel and perpendicular lines? Or what are parallel lines? That's right. Parallel lines are two lines that do not intersect or do not touch, but this is algebra. They mean something different. If two or more lines have the same slope, then the lines are considered parallel. The symbol for parallel is a slanted 11. If the two lines are vertical, then they have unidentified slope or undefined slope. In other words, if I have a slope of 5, what's the parallel slope? 5. In order for lines to be the same or be parallel, they have to have the same slope. So y equals 5x plus 2 and y equals 5x minus 7. Those two are parallel. Let me see what I just picked numbers. If I have y equals 5x plus 2, y equals 5x minus 7. First one I start up 2. Now I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1. This one here I start down 7. And go up 5 over 1. If your lines are drawn correctly, which mine are not, my dot's off a little bit. The lines are parallel. Only if the same slopes do you have a parallel line. If this is off just a hair, like if it was 4.999 and one's 5, they're not parallel because they're not identical. They will intersect at one point or another. I have y equals 5x minus 2. My slope is 5. The parallel slope is 5. Here I have y equals negative 7x minus 8. What's my slope? Negative 7. So what's my parallel slope? Give me an example of an equation that is parallel. Y equals 5x minus 4. It's just another number. I'm just making up another equation. Y equals negative 7x. Actually, I don't even need another number. We'll leave that as a 0. These two are parallel, just because they have the same slope. I have y equals negative 1/2 x minus 1/2. What's my slope? Negative 1/2. What's my parallel slope? Negative 1/2. Y equals 15x minus 34. What's my slope? 15. My parallel slope is? Being parallel is fairly easy. Write an equation in slope-intercept form of a line parallel to y equals 3x plus 7 that has a y-intercept of 4. Looking at this problem, there's a few key things I need to look at. We're trying to find the equation in slope-intercept form. It needs to be parallel to this equation. And it has a y-intercept of 4. Out of here, I need to find the slope. What's the slope out of that equation, or out of that 3? Once I have the slope, I'm done with this. I don't need this any longer. The only thing I need to get out of that one equation is the slope. What's my parallel slope? 3. I have my slope and I have my y-intercept. I don't need to really do any more work except for write y equals 3x plus 4. This one here is parallel to this one here. That's your answer. Now perpendicular. What can you tell me about perpendicular lines? They intersect, but they just don't intersect. What type of angle? 4 right angles. Perpendicular lines, when you think about it, are lines that intersect at right angles, or create right angles. If the slopes of 2 or more lines are m and negative 1 over m, the lines are perpendicular. The symbol for a perpendicular is an upside down T. The way to think of this, if the slopes are opposite reciprocals of one another, then they're perpendicular. They have the opposite signs and the reciprocal, or flip, of one another. I have y equals 3/4 x minus 2. What's my slope? 3/4. Now my parallel slope would be 3/4, but my perpendicular slope, is it positive or negative, our original one? Our original one. It's positive, so I have to take the opposite, so now it's negative. What's the reciprocal of 3/4? 4/3. Perpendicular slope to 3/4 is negative 4/3. Y equals 2x plus 1. What's my slope? My slope is 2. Actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make that negative 2x plus 1. So my slope is negative 2. What's the opposite of negative? Positive. What's the reciprocal of 2? 1/2. What does 2 really mean as a fraction? 2 over 1. This really means 2 over 1, so when I flip it, it becomes 1/2. Yep, all you're doing is taking the slope, flipping it, and changing the sign. Opposite reciprocals. So those same equations again. My slope, we said before, was 5. What's the reciprocal? We need to flip it. 5 becomes 1/5. It was positive. Now it's negative. This is the tricky part about understanding the slope. The slope is negative 7. If I change the sign, it becomes positive. If I take the reciprocals, 1/7. We said before the slope was negative 1/2. If I change the sign, it becomes positive. If I flip 1/2, it becomes 2 over 1, which is just 2. We said the slope before was 15. So the reciprocal would be 1 over 15. It's positive. Make it negative. Do you understand the difference between parallel and perpendicular algebraically? Algebraically, parallel means they're identical slopes. Perpendicular, it's opposite reciprocals. It's usually going to ask for one or the other. Let me see what I have. Let's do this one first. Same exact problem that you had before. We're just going to do it now as being perpendicular. And that's where you need to read through the problem. What am I trying to find? First thing, my answer has to be slope-intercept form. I'm looking for something perpendicular. Here's my equation, and I have a y-intercept of 4. What's my slope in this problem? Slope is 3. Once you have the slope out of this problem, I'm done with it. I don't need it anymore. I never look at it again. I'm trying to find perpendicular. Perpendicular means opposite reciprocals. So the opposite of 3 is negative. The reciprocal is 1/3. So I'm done. I already know this point then. Has to be in slope-intercept form. This is my y-intercept. Y equals negative 1/3 x plus 4. Now I'm just going to show you in the calculator real quick. Three x plus 7. Enter. Negative 1/3 x plus 4. When I graph, there's the first one, there's the second one. If you actually, let me see if I can do this. It will make a right angle. It's hard to see on the calculator screen, but it does make a right angle. Here's what some of your problems are going to look like. Write an equation in slope-intercept form of a line that is parallel to 2x plus 3y equals 7. That passes through the point 4, 5. This problem right here ties together this entire chapter. There's a bunch of pieces you have to know how to do. But if I just look, my final answer has to be in slope-intercept form. It needs to be parallel. Here's an equation. Here's a point. What do I need to do first? Yes. Not find B. What did I have to do on this problem first? Find the slope. So what do I have to do here first? Find the slope. The first step in any problem should be find the slope. Is the slope right there for me? No. The slope is not just written, here's the slope, y equals mx plus b. I got to do a little bit of rearranging first. This needs to be rearranged. This 2x needs to move to the other side. Three y equals negative 2x plus 7. Now what do I need to do? Divide everything by 3. Y equals negative 2/3 x plus 7/3. You need to rearrange it so it's in slope-intercept form. What is my slope? Negative 2/3. Once I have my slope of negative 2/3, I don't need this anymore. What's my parallel slope? Negative 2/3. You need to remember parallel means they're identical. So now I'm done with the whole idea of being parallel. So I'm done with this, done with this. Here's a point, here's a slope. What do you think I should probably do? Here's a point, here's slope. Point, slope, form. Point, slope, form. y minus y1 equals m times quantity of x minus x1. Y minus, the y value is 5, equals, m is my slope, which is negative 2/3. X minus, my x values, 4. My final answer has to be slope-intercept form. So I need to take this problem and work a little bit further. Distribute. Y minus 5 equals negative 2/3 x, negative times negative is positive, 2/3 times 4. Well, it's actually 4 over 1. 2 times 4 is 8, so it's 8/3. I don't want mixed numbers. Leave them as improper. Add the 5, add the 5. Y equals negative 2/3 x. All right, that's actually over 1. I need it to be over 3. So 1 times 3, 5 times 3 is 15. 5 over 1 means 15 over 3. What's 8/3 plus 15/3? 23/3. Now, I did this by hand. Of course, you could use a calculator. But the better you are doing by hand, the easier the problems are to be able to do them quickly. 8/3 plus 5. Enter. Math. Enter, enter. This way, though, you start to understand how to break numbers apart. Here is your final answer. Y equals negative 2/3 x plus 23/3. So we already know for this problem, we're finding the perpendicular. Slope-intercept form, perpendicular, here's the equation, here's the point. You already told me the slope from the same problem before is negative 2/3. Which means my perpendicular slope, change the sign, positive, reciprocal, 3/2. Here's my slope, there's my point. So I'm going to have y minus the y value. Equals the slope times x minus the x value. Y minus 5 equals 3/2 x. Positive times a negative, negative. 3/4 times, or sorry, 3/2 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12, divided by 2 is 6. Fraction's gone. Add over the 5. Y equals 3/2 x, negative 6, positive 5, negative 1. And that's your answer. One of the big mistakes on these problems is when you have to find the parallel and the perpendicular. The b is going to change. Don't just throw the new slope in and say you're done. You have to redo the rest of the problem. But you don't have to find the slope first. Any questions?